Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the ages, unraveling the intricate tapestry of human civilization. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of a fascinating tale, one that has captivated the imagination of scholars and enthusiasts alike for centuries: the rise and fall of ancient Rome. As we delve into this epic narrative, you'll be transported to a world of grandeur and decay, of monumental achievements and catastrophic downfalls. In the distant past, on the Italian peninsula, a small city-state emerged, nestled between the Tiber River and the Apennine Mountains. This was Rome, a name that would become synonymous with power, engineering prowess, and imperial ambition. Let us begin our journey in the 8th century BCE, when the Italian peninsula was a mosaic of tribal territories, each with its distinct culture and traditions. The Latins, a tribe of Indo-European origin, inhabited the region around Rome, while the Etruscans, a mysterious and enigmatic people, flourished to the north. The Greeks, with their city-states and colonies, had already established a foothold in southern Italy, bringing with them the seeds of philosophy, theater, and democracy. As we navigate this ancient landscape, we find ourselves in the midst of a vibrant cultural exchange where ideas, goods, and technologies flowed freely between the Mediterranean's mighty powers. The Phoenicians, master mariners and traders, had established a network of trade routes that spanned the known world, introducing exotic commodities and innovative practices to the Italian peninsula. In this fertile ground, Rome began to take shape, its early history shrouded in myth and legend. The city's founders, Romulus and Remus, were said to have been suckled by a she-wolf, a symbol of the fierce determination and resilience that would come to define the Roman people. As the city grew, it became a melting pot of cultures, with Latin, Etruscan, and Greek influences blending together in a unique fusion. The 6th century BCE saw the rise of the Tarquins, a dynasty of Etruscan kings who ruled Rome with an iron fist, leaving an indelible mark on the city's architecture, politics, and society. The construction of the Cloaca Maxima, one of the earliest sewer systems in the ancient world, and the development of the Roman Forum, a hub of civic life, testified to the Tarquins' engineering prowess and vision. As we approach the 5th century BCE, Rome finds itself on the cusp of a revolution as the last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, is overthrown in a popular uprising. The Roman Republic is born, with its system of governance by elected representatives, checks and balances, and a complex network of alliances and rivalries that will shape the course of Roman history. As the Roman Republic took its first steps, the 5th century BCE was marked by a series of tumultuous events that would shape the city's future. The overthrow of Lucius Tarquinius Superbus in 509 BCE paved the way for the establishment of a republican government, with the election of Brutus and Collatinus as the first consuls. However, this fledgling republic was soon threatened by external forces, as the Etruscan king Lars Porsena laid siege to Rome in 508 BCE. The bravery of Horatius Cocles, who single-handedly defended the Pons Sublicius against the invading army, became a legendary tale that would inspire Romans for generations to come. The early Roman Republic was characterized by a delicate balance of power between the patrician and plebeian classes, with the former holding sway over the latter. However, as the 5th century progressed, social and economic tensions began to simmer, culminating in the first secession of the plebs in 494 BCE. This mass withdrawal of plebeian citizens from Rome forced the patricians to concede significant concessions, including the establishment of the tribune of the plebs, an office designed to protect the interests of the common people. The 4th century BCE saw Rome's expansion beyond the Italian peninsula, as the city began to assert its dominance over neighboring territories. The Samnite Wars, which spanned from 343 to 290 BCE, were a series of brutal conflicts that tested Rome's military mettle and ultimately resulted in the incorporation of much of central Italy into the Roman sphere of influence. As the Roman legions marched victorious across the Italian landscape, they left in their wake a trail of destruction and devastation, as exemplified by the razing of the city of Veii in 39-6 BCE. Meanwhile, the Roman Republic's internal dynamics continued to evolve with the introduction of the Licinius-Sextian reforms in 367 BCE. These landmark laws, which limited the amount of public land that could be held by individual citizens and established a maximum interest rate on loans, helped to alleviate some of the economic pressures faced by the plebeian class. However, social tensions persisted, as evidenced by the bitter struggle for power between the patrician and plebeian factions, exemplified by the rivalry between the noble families of the Fabii and the Aemilii. As Rome entered the 3rd century BCE, the city found itself increasingly entangled in a complex web of international relations, with the rise of powerful Hellenistic kingdoms in the eastern Mediterranean. The Pyrrhic War, which lasted from 280 to 275 BCE, saw Rome pitted against the brilliant but mercurial king Pyrrhus of Epirus, who invaded Italy with a vast army and clashed with Roman forces at the battles of Heraclea and Asculum. Although Pyrrhus ultimately withdrew from Italy, his campaigns had a profound impact on Roman military tactics, as the city's generals began to adopt more flexible and adaptive strategies to counter the sophisticated phalanx formations employed by their Hellenistic foes. The mid-3rd century BCE was also marked by significant cultural and intellectual developments within Rome, as the city began to assimilate elements of Greek culture and learning. The arrival of Greek philosophers, poets, and artists in Rome helped to stimulate a vibrant cultural scene, exemplified by the works of the poet Livius Andronicus, who translated Homer's epics into Latin and composed original dramas that reflected the values and aspirations of the Roman people. As the 3rd century BCE drew to a close, Rome's expansionist policies continued unabated, with the city becoming increasingly embroiled in a series of costly and complex conflicts across the Mediterranean. The Second Punic War, which lasted from 218 to 2001 BCE, saw Rome pitted against a brilliant Carthaginian general Hannibal, who famously crossed the Alps with war elephants and clashed with Roman forces at the battles of Cannae and Zama. Although Rome ultimately emerged victorious, the war had a profound impact on the city's economy and society, as the constant demand for manpower and resources led to significant social and economic changes. The 2nd century BCE was marked by a series of significant cultural and intellectual developments within Rome, as the city began to assimilate elements of Greek culture and learning. The establishment of the Scipionic Circle, a group of aristocratic intellectuals who promoted Greek literature and philosophy, helped to stimulate a vibrant cultural scene, exemplified by the works of the poet Ennius, who composed epic poems that reflected the values and aspirations of the Roman people. As the Roman statesman Cato the Elder once said, "The Greeks are a most literary and most theatrical people," reflecting the deep-seated ambivalence towards Greek culture that characterized Roman society during this period. As Rome continued to expand its territories, the city's internal dynamics became increasingly complex, with the rise of powerful noble families and the growing tensions between the optimates and populares. The Gracchian reforms, which were introduced in the late 2nd century BCE, aimed to address some of the social and economic issues faced by the plebeian class, but ultimately failed to stem the tide of discontent that was building among the Roman people. The 1st century BCE saw Rome plunged into a series of brutal and devastating civil wars, as powerful generals such as Marius, Sulla, and Julius Caesar vied for control of the city. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE marked the end of the Roman Republic and paved the way for the rise of the Roman Empire under his adopted son Octavian, later known as Augustus. As the Roman Empire expanded across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, it left a lasting legacy that continues to shape Western civilization to this day. Today, the rise and fall of ancient Rome is remembered as a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity, creativity, and ambition. The legacy of ancient Rome continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world, with countless books, films, and documentaries exploring various aspects of Roman history and culture. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.